All right, let's settle down, everybody. Let's get into our call today. This young man hails from Fresno, California. He's a retired fire captain. And matter of fact, his pay got decreased by $5,000 per month from the state of California because they were cutting back on people's income. And the story is his lovely wife, girlfriend shared the ACN opportunity with him. They saw a way out. They got started and kept going. And they've been around doing the business 8+ years. And he did something that I'll never forget that was very instrumental in my life. When we were up in Charlotte, North Carolina, leaving the convention, and he had his pen on, and he says, "I'm burying this pen in the ground under this tree. Listen up, under this tree. I'm not. I repeat, I am not. I repeat, Danny Jones. I will not. Mary Perez. I will not come back to the next convention, pinned with this pen on. I am moving up in the ranks." And he buried his pen underneath that tree, vowed not to come back to the next convention. Why, Cynthia? Because he drew in the line in the sand, Celissa Williams, G. Valdez, and say, "I'm not going to be in the same position when I come back at the next convention." And folks, I wish more people make that kind of commitment. Can we have a warm welcome to none other Chris King? Give him a hand.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you so much for the opportunity that you give us to come forward and speak here, and this platform that you set up for us. And it's nothing to be taken for granted. And I know, unfortunately, we do that sometimes, but what you've done for us here is really put us in position and helped us. You know, it helped us even burying the pen and Charlotte to come back and stay focused in these calls and moving forward. And you've been very instrumental to a lot of us growing our business, and thank you so much. So big shout out to our military and our first responders here and across or abroad for what they do. And welcome, guys, welcome. So got a few things this morning. Kind of been having, I hope you all are having fun with this. You know, if you've ever been out with Mr. Thomas showing the business or getting names and numbers or just, you know, out and about, I'll tell you what, I've never had more fun than with my senior vice president and watching him in action, but just how much he enjoys and loves what he does. And it's really a blessing. So with that being said, I'll give you guys a quick update. I know Roxanne Corlino has been talking about it. And Mr. Thomas, you got a few of the RDs that are up in Tahoe right now, so they're in class. So just that's why we're a little short this week. So, but anyway, update with us. So we've been talking about getting in a networking group, starting networking groups, and everything else. And just give you guys a little update. So we spoke with one of our IBOs, and with the wife and I, and we kind of, you know, I think the wife brainstorms more than all of us because she's just that kind of smart. But we talked about doing a networking group and getting our IBO involved and actually running it. And aside from because she can't be in my group because there's only one per group, right? So just an update for this. So we thought, hey, let's do the churches, because the churches, they can be a part of other groups, but we're going to focus on the churches and the business owners in the church. So this is just something that we did. My brother did one up in Idaho with veterans. So just throwing it out there. So we spoke with him, and he liked the idea because we just told him what we do and how we grow business. We want to do something with the church. And so we met with him. We did a little brainstorming, and now we have to get back to him with time, rules, and regulations, which we already have. But everything that's established, create positions within the group, and do all that to get it to showing like, here's our next step, aside from inviting people. And so I said, hey, you know what? We're actually having a group meeting tomorrow from 8:30 to 9:30, and you should come check it out so you see exactly how it's run. And after that, he was like, dude, I like this. This is a good thing. And to hear that from one of the pastors at church was really a blessing, because that's how we kind of intended it for. So just let you guys know, just like, hey, we got a wild hair, and we're starting a new group. And just to show you that it can be done. And I have information for you if anybody would like to do something like that. So, all right. So today we're going to talk about and this is not you guys, but I know that some of you are going to be a part of this. But I'm calling it lessons learned, right? So Mr. Thomas, a lot of times he talks with us, he speaks with us as a senior vice president, and we get to learn the lessons. So it's kind of like reading a book. See, I don't have to spend 25, 30 years doing something to get all the knowledge and all the information and the lessons and everything else that someone did and then wrote a book about. Like right now, Mr. Thomas talking about, but he's up to almost 30 years in network marketing. So Mr. Thomas wrote a book, and we actually sat down, read his book, and studied it. We could obtain his knowledge, not all of it. I mean, can't remember everything, but nonetheless, enough to move forward and utilize that information, right? So this is lessons learned, guys. And one of the lessons learned, and this is because this is stuff that I did, right? Not stuff that you did, even though I know some of you are going to fall in this category, but never take your foot off the gas. And I see this a lot. I see this with ETLs, with RCs, RDs. I even see it all the way up to senior vice president, RVPs too. People who take their foot off the gas because, whoa, I achieved it. I'm there. And that's probably one of the biggest, and Mr. Thomas has talked about that, is one of the biggest mistakes that we make. Because when you're moving, I carry a big truck in back here, and it's hard to get that thing going again. So how do you keep pushing yourself when you've reached your initial goals? Did everybody write their goals down when you first got started? Yeah, we all did. I want to make $500 a month. I want to do this. I want to, and that's it, unfortunately. And what happens when you take your foot off the gas, and this is I'm speaking from my heart, guys. I basically, we let our team down. The people who expected us to keep running through all the positions, and if you don't realize what you're doing, you can lose team members. Team members will start dropping like flies. And it happens because I took my foot off the gas. So here's the thing. For a lesson learned, what keeps you moving forward and in momentum phase? What does it? What keeps your fire burning, your passion? What keeps all that going? And this is what Rose and I just spoke about this literally this last week. And how big was our why? See, here's what my why was. It's eventually we want to be financially free, not debt free, because we're speaking about debt. We want to be financially free. It's the same thing, but there's a different way you say it for your mental capacity. Okay. So how big is your why? We started thinking about it. Well, my mom's why, or my why was, right now, my mom wants to go to Hawaii before she passes. She's had several strokes, and she's came close a couple of times to being with Jesus, right? Which is where she wants to go, where she wants to be. But we wanted to take her to Hawaii because she's never been. That's been one of the things she's talked about for years. But I'm going to be honest, guys, my dad will never take her to Hawaii. And it's only because he doesn't want to go. So we thought, you know what, Mom, we're going to do that. We're going to take you to Hawaii and everything else. We started thinking about it. This has been years. You kind of contemplate and go over things and start thinking about it. And Mom's not going to go to Hawaii. You know why she's not going to go to Hawaii as much as she wants to? Because Dad doesn't want to go. And she doesn't feel it's right that she would go without him. So what's our why now? The thing is, when you first get started, you will actually, if you stay in the business a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever the time frame, 10 years is, right now you're probably, if you haven't achieved your goals, you're probably making roughly about what it was you said you wanted to make from the beginning. That was cool back then when you started, because you might have needed $500 a month in residual income. You might have needed a couple $100. You might have needed some bonus money. But here's the thing, guys. I don't want to make that money for the rest of my life. You don't want to make that money for the rest of your life. You got in this business to be financially free. Okay? So when we don't increase our goals, when we don't sit down and okay, we've made ETL. Babe, where are we going next? Okay, we need bigger goals now. You do. Set them down, write them down, and then focus on it. You understand that? You need to focus on where your new goals are going to take you. So if you don't focus on it, you can write it down all day long. Want to be SVP, want to be SVP, want to be SVP, But if you don't focus on the task at hand and what needs to be done to get to SVP, right? Which means you got to get to RC, RD, RVP, go through the platinums, gold, electronic, all the other names they got now for those positions, and it's better money. And to get it to SVP, you're just going to be on the $500 a month wheel. I mean, it's a good wheel. It's not bad, but you haven't readjusted your goals. And then on top of that, you haven't focused them. So don't take your foot off the gas. Set your new goals, even if you're not even ETL yet. You've got to a spot where you are. Now, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to obtain ETL. So now start talking about what it is that your next goal is. It's RC. Start talking about it. If you're RC, you want to be RD. You need to set that down and have laser focus. Mr. Thomas knows who he is. A few of you do too, but his name is Virgil Klunder. Virgil was in the business. He was a billionaire. And Virgil said something when he invited us all back to his house with Mr. Thomas too, and did a mentorship for about 12 of us, I think. And the one thing he said, he says, the difference between me and most of y'all is your vision sees a lot of things. When you got stuff, you got a lot of things you're focused on. He says, when I make a goal, I have such laser focus, I will actually burn a hole through the wall. And I was like, wow, that's when I understood the difference between him and I. So I had to teach myself and learn how to have laser focus. Have that laser focus and those things will come. So one of the lessons we learned is never take your foot off the gas. Now, another lesson, let's go a couple lessons today because of time frame, is listening. Guys, this is, oh my gosh, I have nuclear ADHD, and Rose can tell you how much better I am today, but it's funny because, well, it's not funny, it cost us some business partners, but we go to Starbucks and I'd show you the business, sit down and like, all right, boom, 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 boom. And then as soon as someone came through the front door at Starbucks, I would do this. And guess what the person, my prospect did? So guys, even if I can do this and start to overcome this, even you can. But the ability to listen, so I was able to listen to her and focus on what I was doing. And I'm still have nuclear ADHD, but I do a lot better. But are you listening to people for a reply, or are you listening to people? Check this out. Are you listening to people and intently enough that you can ask the right questions? See, they always talk about always be closing, always be closing, always be closing. But if you're not listening to what the people are saying, are you in position to close them? No. So I've had to learn to listen. Now, I've heard people, here's something too, is I've heard people say, because I listened better today than I did earlier. I've heard people say that if people run the other way when they see you, you're doing ACN right. Right? You know what I mean? A couple people heard that before. I know you have. I've been at those trainings. Here's what's crazy, guys. If people see you and run the other way, it might be because you run them over with all your ACN knowledge and your superb sales tactics. Huh. Interesting. That's probably more the case. It was for me. Oh, you can't run away from me, dude. You need to get in this business. Superb sales tactics, huh? Didn't listen to a word they said. Don't stress out, guys. These techniques and everything can be learned for most people. because they learned to listen. I'll tell you what, Mr. Thomas, I'm just going to throw this out there, boss. Mr. Thomas didn't come out of the womb selling services to the doctors and nurses. But I promise you this, if he could have, he would have. So that's just how he goes. I mean, for a lot of us, we have ACN in our heart and our brain, but when they cut us, we still bleed blood. With Mr. Thomas, it's in his heart and it's in his brain, but if I cut Mr. Thomas, he bleeds ACN. See, this is a level we have to get to, okay? But you have to listen. You have to be in position to do that, okay? So the ideal solution, if you guys can remember this over everything else today for listening, the ideal solution is when you ask the right questions to people, that they actually talk themselves into your business, okay? Someone who talks themselves into your business won't be quitting a week later or 2 weeks later. Hey, I'm gonna get my money back. This isn't for me. Because remember, they talk themselves into it because you listened and you asked the right questions. These are all learnable techniques, and we are learning them even still today. But there's more to it than just you. There's more to it than you growing a team. And I think a lot of people miss that. I got a story here. My wife's boss, wonderful girl. Actually, she's the reason Rose and I got together. And so I'm grateful for that. But she's a sweetheart of a girl, right? And it's interesting is Rose is a lot more, and this is, like I say, because she listens way better than I do. But listen to what Mr. Thomas says. I even pick up on it too. Listen to what Mr. Thomas says. Listen to what Mr. Thomas says. Here's what happens. You start talking about the economy and businesses are going to do this. You just heard him recently. Everything going on. You are in the right position to talk to these people, right? If you're listening. Now, here's what's crazy. Rose understood that they're trying to take her. There's two of them in the jobs that there's only two spots in their jobs. Okay. There's no other workers, just the two of them. And Rose keeps saying, like, hey, you know what? They're looking to job eliminate us. They're looking to job eliminate us. I've heard her say it over and over again, just because of what they're doing, because she's listening, she's paying attention. And she even told her the lady she works with, her friend, hey, they're trying to job eliminate us. No, they're not. They would never do that. This is what she says. This is what she says. Now, months later, because she's been in a bunch of meetings, she's like, I think they're trying to job eliminate us. They're trying to get everything. They don't want workers. Workers call in sick. Workers have to be paid. They want to spend that $1 to get the machine to do it for them. That machine never calls in sick. That machine it will run at top performance. And if it doesn't, they'll have a mechanic come in, fix it to get it running at top performance. Do 10 machines can do 10 times what we can do. Okay. Now, with that being said, her friends now saying they're going to job eliminate us. So Rose tells her, says, well, you know what, girl, you might have to start doing what we do. You know, just throwing it out there. I don't know if those are the exact words, but close. And she goes, oh, no, I can't do that. I'm not a salesman. So Rose just told her, girl, you don't have to be a salesman. But you see, my point here is, from that, I'm not a salesman, to, I can't do what you do. I'm not who you are. I'm not who Mr. Thomas is. No one else is here. But we can be like that. But here's what Mr. Thomas came and did. Here's what Rose did to her friend. Girl, this isn't about you. This is about us working together, growing together. As Mr. Thomas tells us all the time. If you think Mr. Thomas isn't there you haven't listened to understand that he's there for you anytime. I've called him last minute. Rose, I've been in a PBR 1-to-1, right? Showing the plan. And about the time it's over, Mr. Thomas calls me. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, hey, actually, I'm doing the PBR. How you doing, sir? And I'll put him on speakerphone. And he'll like, oh, and hey, you're on speakerphone, boss. This is Richard. Hey, Richard, I'm Mr. Thomas. And he's already seen the magazine, and I couldn't figure out. I'm my head. I'm like, how did he know I was doing? Why is he calling now? And Rose will actually text him, "Hey, boss, have you got time?" So Mr. Thomas listens to us. Mr. Thomas is there for us. Mr. Thomas is there. We know beyond the shadow of doubt that Mr. Thomas is there to support us 100%. That's what we have to tell and our new people that looking at our business. You need to tell them that they know we're not just, hey, we're locking arms, we're going to the top. Who's coming with me? Because that's not how it is. You've got to know people. Mr. Thomas, if you watch Mr. Thomas, he'll put his hand on their arm or their shoulder, or their hand. Hey, look, and there's communication skills there. There's that they can feel Mr. Thomas's heart. We have to be that way. That all comes with listening and not just saying and blurting out like, hey, we'll do this, we do telecom energy, and yeah, we're the best. Just ask me. It's not working. People don't pay attention. We have to lead them and guide them. Now, remember, guys, and this is a big lesson for me, is seasons. There's a season for everything. We left summer, thank God, and we're coming into fall. I love fall, the colors, the trees. It's hunting season. Sorry for you vegans. but it's the time of year we come together, our families. And it's not just for us to talk about what we're doing and where we're going. That should be the last thing on the table. Find out where your families are. We're going to go out. We're going to be seeing them all. This could be the season that it's time for them to see ACN for the first time, again, to help out with services. But be the person that listens, okay? Learn that today, to listen to your family and your friends, or you're all coming, your in-laws that are coming together, so you can ask the right questions in their seasons of life, so you can get them to talk themselves into being a customer or a business partner. That's how simple this is. And guys, those are the few things that I have, some of the lessons that I learned, the kick in the pants that I've got, but it's simple. We just got to do it.